Good morning. We are live from Kilifi County, and today the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis is holding its 6th annual regional conference. This is a 3-day conference that brings together stakeholders to stimulate conversations that involves economic revitalization as well as development of arid and semi-arid lands. In short form, you can call it ASAL. Just to put into perspective what this conference is all about, Kenya's topography is estimated to occupy 89% of arid and semi-arid land. 38% of Kenya's population occupy or inhabit these particular areas. Now, 29 counties which are represented in this conference are affected directly. In fact, just a few seasons ago, we have just walked away from the ravaging effects of drought. And today, this conversation is paramount to ensure that these 29 counties have been guided by policies to ensure that in future, especially now that we are at the brink of famine, these conversations can inform policy decisions that are achieved by county governments. So stakeholders from both national and county governments are here just to stimulate conversation. In fact, the youth is also here and represented to also join in with the conversation. So I'm joined with the Executive Director, Rose Ngugi, to just give us perspective of what KIPPRA is all about and what to expect in these 3 coming days. Karibu sana, Madam, just give us an overview of who KIPPRA is for the sake of our viewers, and what is your mandate and when you are established.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rose Ngugi. I'm the Executive Director, Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis, in short, KIPPRA. KIPPRA was established in 1997 with a core mandate to promote evidence-informed public policy making in Kenya. And we are under the State Department of Economic Planning, National Treasury and Economic Planning. The Institute delivers its mandate through 3 programs. The first program is what we call the Capacity Building Program, and we have 3 aspects that we deal with the Capacity Building Program. The first one is a 1-year Young Professionals Program, where we engage youth, of course, below 35 years, at the Institute for 1 year. And when they come out, they are able to articulate policy issues as well as analyze whatever is happening as far as emerging policy issues is concerned. We also have a program we call a KIPPRA Mentorship Program for universities. And through this program, we are able to engage the university community, and with the youth at the university level, we are able to prepare them for the work life after campus, as well as to give them some skills of how they can engage in public participation forums. The second program that we run is research and analysis, and under this program we have as our key flagship report the Kenya Economic Report. This is prepared and published every year since 2009, and we also have many other publications that you can visit our repository, KIPPRA Public Policy Repository, and you can get to see the kind of publications that we prepare. The third element, which is what has brought us here, is what we call engagement and networking. Through this program, we are able to deal with one of our key mandates, and that is to bring together stakeholders in the public policy space so that they can engage and exchange views on emerging policy issues as well as other important development policy agenda. This time round, we are holding a conference under the theme Accelerating Growth and Development of the ASALs in Kenya.
What are some of the thematic areas that the stakeholders will be intriguing conversations so that they can achieve the theme of this year's conference?
Yeah, during this conference, we will be discussing about 8 sub-themes, all geared towards seeing that we are coming up with actionable policy proposals that can help in ensuring that we fully exploit the potential for the ASAL counties. Among them is understanding the economic system in the ASAL areas. You know that in the arid areas, the main economic system is pastoralism. And when we have a drought situation, the livelihoods of the pastoralists is actually put at high risk. And we need to understand that given that pastoralism has been there for all this time, therefore it's a very viable economic system. What we need to ask ourselves is how can we make it maximize the livelihoods and the welfare of the community in the ASAL area. In addition, we realize that there are potential sectors in the ASAL area that we need to exploit. So we are going to discuss, for example, aspects of agriculture, knowing that we have about 89% of Kenya land under the ASALs. It means that the future for food security in Kenya will actually be achieved by exploiting the potential in the ASAL areas. In ASAL areas, we can grow fruits, we can grow maize, we can grow cash crops, cashew nuts, like what is happening in Kilifi. And we need then to see the strategies that we can use to exploit these agriculture. Currently, under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, you'll notice that with the agricultural transformation, the government is focusing on various crops to ensure that we have an increased productivity along the value chain. Tourism is also an area that we can exploit in the ASAL counties. You know very well about the cultural events that happen. One of them in the Lake Turkana. Every year there is a cultural event, and which should actually attract all of us to see the cultural aspects of ASALs. We have also national parks and museums, as well as archaeological sites. All these are potential areas that we can actually exploit in the ASAL counties.
You will agree with me, we have just from moving from a very tumultuous period during the drought season. There are many things probably the government would have readied itself with to mitigate some of these effects. However, we turned to development partners, and just the other day the Deputy President was very passionate to say that it was maybe an embarrassing situation for the country to go to the development partners for aid. However, it is now time to start conversations that can help the country to move away from such situation. The development partners coming in future, what is their space in this conversation, and what percentage do they have in terms of contributing to some of the projects that this county might embark on so that they can mitigate this situation?
Development is actually a partnership element. If you look at the Sustainable Development Goal, there is a clear emphasis on partnership. So even for us, when we are hit by some of these shocks, we turn to our development partners to ensure that we can work together to secure the livelihoods of the majority of Kenyans. The current situation that we are in, it started all the way in 2021, and in September 2021, the president then declared a national disaster in Kenya. And when that is done, the expectation is that we should see development partners coming in to support us in various areas. Let me say that there are quite a number of initiatives that are ongoing. For example, there is a disaster risk management bill, which the current government is looking to fast track because with that bill, it will actually consolidate and allow for better coordination of all the support that we can give when we are hit by a drought situation. In addition, there is a preparation of the PFM regulations that will support the establishment of a disaster risk management fund. And when we have such a fund, it makes it easier for the development partners to find a pot where they can actually contribute, and also the government to be putting in some money such that they can prepare better when disaster comes. When we go to development partners like the World Bank, we also see that we have a partnership, recognizing that we can only deal with weather shocks when we involve the local communities. So we have what is called it's okay. Yeah, so we have what is called the financing locally led climate action, which is expected to facilitate those on the ground, communities, to actually exploit their knowledge as far as climate action is concerned. So when we look at all these things, you find that we are almost putting together structures that would help in terms of making it better, coordinating better the activities that involve both the government as well as the development partners, such that we are better prepared in the future.
I'm sure you'll agree with me, legislation is critical for every plan that you are going to make today, and that would mean that the county assemblies as well as the National Assembly takes a bigger role, a front approach in terms of adopting some of the policies that you will come up with here. What is your word for the legislation? Front, they were too expressing their sentiments that the government might have not done enough to alleviate the suffering of people during the drought season, or the drought, mitigating the effects. But what can be their role in actively ensuring that the policies right now that you are brainstorming are coming to fruition, and maybe in future we can alleviate some of the effects that we underwent as a country?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. You realize that we are at a very good place in formulating our next 5 years development strategy. The national government is preparing the medium-term plan 4, and at the county level, the preparations for the third CIDPs is also actually going on. So the expectation we have is that as we deliberate and agree on various policy actions from this conference, it will be possible for us to make an input into the CIDPs such that they are prioritized in the next 5 years. The role of parliament, the role of county assemblies is very critical. Like now, I've just told you that the national government is looking to see that the disaster risk management bill is passed. Yeah? At the county level, there has been an action to actually prepare what we call the county climate change action plans, which again helps to bring into the table the county governments in the actions that they need to take in alleviating drought shocks. Yeah, so I would say that all of us actually have a role to play, whether we are national, whether we are county, whether we are government, whether we are development partners, and whether we are media, because also the media is here to ensure that they are able to share information on whatever is happening in all parts of this country.
IGAD just the other day concluded a Blue Economy Conference where they say that 15% of the annual GDP is lost to the effects of climate change right now. I have seen in your framework you'd want to merge the green and the blue economy to supplement what is missing or what is going at a loss in this sector due to the effects of the climate change. How then today these conversations will inform that you look into the blue space so that you can get some revenue or get some food security from that particular sector?
Yeah, one of the key sub-themes that we have during this conference is what we are calling natural resources and agriculture. And under that theme, we are actually exploring matters to do with fisheries, because we know, for example, Lake Turkana has a high potential for fisheries. We also know a county like Kilifi with a very big coastal land, also has marine resources that can be exploited. And of course, we are looking at other agricultural activities, including the apiculture. We know counties like Baringo, they are very good with the beekeeping. So as we do all this, we are telling ourselves that we can diversify sources of growth, we can diversify economic activity, and we can tap into areas that maybe traditionally we have looked at them at subsistence level and make them more commercialized, because this way you'll be able to not only employ more people, but at the same time see the counties being able to participate effectively in trade and grow their GDP.
Finally, the youth are actively represented in this forum. Why do you feel that they need to be part of the policy process that is going on for the next 3 days?
Yes, since we had our first conference in 2018, we realized that it's not enough just for us to sit back and deliberate. We need to bring everybody in the policy process into the fold. And one of the key stakeholders is actually the youth. For the things that we do today, we are preparing actually the future for the youth. So it's important for them to be at the table when we are discussing matters development into the future, because what we are trying to shape is their future. And them being at this conference, we are not only empowering them to see the issues at hand, but as well as to have their voice heard in terms of how they want to see themselves actively involved in the development process. So since 2018, we've been having what we call the youth event, the sidelines of the conference. And we have been involving especially the youth from universities because of our KIPPRA mentorship program for universities. But this time round, as we look at our conference in Kilifi, we are bringing in youth from the 29 counties. We brought them actually yesterday. They went through a capacity building to understand the policy process, to understand how they can pitch their conversation with the policy makers. And in the next 3 days, our expectation is that they'll be able to tell us what is it they can do innovatively to see that they contribute to accelerating growth and development of ASAL counties.
Your parting shot, perhaps.
With ASAL counties representing 89% of the land in Kenya, it means that we are almost talking about the totality of the country. As we think about economic transformation under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, focusing on the ASAL counties is like focusing on the totality of the economy. There is a lot that we can achieve in agricultural transformation and food security by exploiting the resources in the ASAL counties.
Thank you so much for your time. We wish you fruitful deliberations these 3 days. We are in Kilifi County, the Pwani University in particular, where for the next 3 days, the KIPPRA, Kenya Institute of Public Policy Research and Analysis, will be conducting conversation to invoke economic revitalization and development of ASAL's regions here in Kenya. 29 counties are represented. Stakeholders from both national, county and regional development partners are here to stimulate these conversations so that they can inform the policies that will guide the country for the next coming years. So we are here. Tomorrow is the official opening. We anticipate the arrival of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who will be formally launching gracing this conference. So we will be giving you live coverage from today, tomorrow and the third day to give you a perspective on what exactly is happening here at the Pwani University. But for now, I hand it back to you in studio to continue with the broadcast.